Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
BoxingVoice.com.
You need that fear.
All I'm trying to do is make a stand for something that I truly believe is right. I truly believe is right. I want to be like you. Come on, man. I'm the face of boxing. I'm the cash cow. I hold the record for pay-per-view.
My job, I know my job, I know my situation. I don't want to fight.
Massive production.
But it's going to be very difficult for both of us.
BoxingVoice.com.
Welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be bringing you today's news, rumors, and headlines. And on the agenda today is going to be the Mexican showdown between Saul Canelo Álvarez and Julio César Chávez Jr. It's going to be taking place Saturday, May 6, 2017, T-Mobile Arena, and we've just gotten the dates for the four-city press tour. So right off the bat, before even getting thoroughly into this episode, I just want to give a round of applause to Golden Boy for going into the pockets and shoving out the shillings that it's going to cost to, cater these two men across the globe to promote this fight. But that is what boxing is all about, promoting. This is what promoters should do. And Golden Boy, when most recently it was made public that Canelo Álvarez is about 90% of their business, it serves them right to do a multiple city press tour to try and generate just as much coin as they possibly can. Let's head on over to the Golden State to talk to none other than Matthew, the hipster hunter. What's going on, Matt?
What's up, guys? I think that Golden Boy, like you said, is making the right decision with this press tour. I know when Triple G and Jacob's press tour was announced, the two-location press tour, we did a show on that, and we talked about how should they add Houston, should they add, location X, whatever. And, I think I kind of harped on them. I think you sort of harped on them too, for Tom Loeffler and them to not add more cities to the press tour, because we know that these things do have an effect. We do. And the fact that it's going to be in Mexico City, New York City, Houston, and LA, some of the biggest media capitals in the world. Obviously, Mexico City is just ethnically and demographically the place to have a media event. So I think that this is obviously going to drive up just the overall interest, and especially since these are all back-to-back. All this is happening in the span of 5 days. So we're going to get tons and tons of media and sort of free exposure to this fight. And I think the casuals are going to be brought in more because of this event. And the only thing is this a little bit too far out? Is this, obviously they need training camp. They need those 8 weeks to train. But will it carry over for a couple months for the casual fans to remember this fight? That's probably the question.
You lost me. What do you mean? Would what carryover? How would the casual fans forget about these two guys when they're such big names?
I think that in today's culture and today's just media culture is that in 24 hours, it's late news already, so, and imagine 2 or 3 months down the line, if you're a casual sports fan, not casual box fan, casual sports fan, the people that are going to make this bout a $1 million+ pay-per-view buy, those guys, those people, they need to be constantly hit with media, constantly hit with promos. And I think this will help, obviously, and maybe just the amount of footage from these events will lead to enough promos to put in commercials for the next 2 or 3 months after it to carry over. Because that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fans remembering this. And I'm not talking about boxing fans. I'm talking about casual sports fans.
Call me now.
1-425-569-5241. We will be taking calls. We will be asking your thoughts. I don't know, Matt. I think that I disagree. I think that the discrepancy here is, or the lack of any attention that you are not noticing, is that this fan base is a Spanish-speaking fan base. I had been searching around the internet, and about a week ago or a couple of days ago, maybe, there was an interview released on YouTube of Saul Canelo Álvarez. It's titled, like, in Spanish, Saul breaks silence on the Chavez fight. and it was about about 180,000 views in a couple of days. That's a lot, but it was Spanish only. And I think that is the demographic that, you and I and a lot of these other media outlets are lacking, because this is a Spanish speaking fandom that these two guys have. I mean, does Canelo Álvarez have guys like you and me, and Julio César Chávez has guys like you and me who speak English, or like myself that are bilingual? Of course. But the majority, the bulk of these fans are Latino, Latin.
I'm not disputing that at all, but just knowing anecdotally from being in LA, you're going to see households with 70 plus people watching this fight. So that by necessity cuts down on pay-per-views, because it's not 70 different people buying pay-per-view. It's one pay-per-view buy with 70 people in a house. So that's the culture with the Mexican demographic. They're going to have huge fight parties for this fight. So I'm telling you, to get that million plus pay-per-view buy rate, you're going to need the casual sports fan. You just do. Now, can they do this and only go to the Spanish-speaking demographic and get 750,000 pay-per-view buys? Yes. But to break a million, maybe 1.2, 1.5, whatever they're trying to, that barrier for, wow, amazing, I can't believe it did this. You need casual sports fan. You need the people that just watch the Super Bowl and that's it. You need those type of people.
I don't know. I think they're tapping into the appropriate markets. I see them going to Mexico City, and they're opening it to the public. How many press conferences do I go to that are not? Gennady Golovkin, for instance. He's always in Madison Square Garden, always holding his press conference there. Not open to the public. New York City, open to the public. They're going to hold that for everyone tuned in the New York City area. That's going to be on Broadway in New York, New York. It's going to be on the corner of Broadway and 43rd Street. And the press and fan arrival will be at 12 p.m. Press conference starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And that is going to be February 21st, Tuesday, which sucks for TBV because we will be in Florida. So we will not, I'm going to have Adam in New York, hopefully see if he could get an interview with Canelo. It's going to be difficult. On the 24th, February 24th, they will be headed to Los Angeles, California, where they're also going to be open to the public. Fan arrival time is at 2 p.m. Pacific time. This one will be on the Imperial Highway in Linwood, California, in Los Angeles. And in Houston, another heavily Mexican populated community and state, they're going to be in the Minute Maid Park, and that one will be fan arrival at 12 p.m. Central Time. So, I like this. The last time we seen Canelo do anything close to this many cities was with Floyd Mayweather Jr., and it seems now, looking in retrospect, Matthew, this guy has learned a lot from Floyd. He's started to use Floyd's catch weights, Floyd's A-side tactics and negotiation. Here he is now increasing the amount of cities for his press tour. If not he, Oscar, someone, or the model is definitely being copied. But it's not to criticize. Instead, it's to applaud, because I want this fight to do the best that it could possibly do. These are two huge names, and boxing needs, for the numbers to go up. This is what we do. Why wouldn't we want it to be great?
No, couple points. The idea that he is copying Mayweather's style, that's just this. When you're the biggest star in boxing and you can go back 100 years, they act like this. They do. They control the negotiation in every facet, and they know how to sell a fight because they're the biggest star. For some reason, they have that it factor. They know how to do it. So yes, Canelo is following Mayweather's, and Mayweather's following Tyson, and Tyson's following Sugar Ray Leonard, and so forth, of stars that just knew how to captivate the audience. And to sell a fight right. And Canelo is doing that. He's obviously the biggest star in boxing, other than maybe Anthony Joshua. And I still wouldn't say Anthony Joshua is the biggest star. But I don't know why you were disagreeing with me about the whole casual sports fan. I'm not saying that they aren't speaking to the right market in the Spanish-speaking market, but I'm just saying that does it not also help to get the casual sports fan market as well? I don't know why it's like the one or the other.
I think that it's always going to help.
One or the other thing.
I think it's always going to help, and I think that it's always going to be their main objective. They being the promoters, the people in marketing, whoever's running social media campaigns, they know that we are going to be here talking about every piece of news that we can get our hands on. They know that we wake up in the morning, we sit on our toilet, and we scroll through numerous boxing publications that can give us our unfiltered news. Listen, let's open up these phone lines. Before we do,
these calls are brought to you by our sponsor, El Camino Electrical Services, who have over 15 years of commercial electrical experience, servicing the whole Silicon Valley and the entire San Francisco Peninsula. Visit us at our website, elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
go out to our mastermind. Dre, what's going on, brother?
Good evening. How's everybody doing, man? Thank you for the show. I want to commend Oscar De La Hoya on spending this money in 1 week's time. That's a lot of private jets, a lot of hotels, a lot of foods, a lot of security. But my only concern with this, and I want to be a Debbie Downer, man, is he going to spend this money on marketing towards as the fights get closer? Because I hate for this fight to start on such a high marketing-wise, and it goes dead as it gets closer to fight time. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know you're optimistic, Ness, but at the end of the day, I want this sport to thrive the right way. It's great to see this judge coming to Teterboro and going through Manhattan, but as the question is, is he gonna promote closer to the fight, Cinco de Mayo week? He's gonna get.
Well, my question to you, Dre, is what sort of promotion would you like to see outside of these initial four-city press conferences? What would you like to see in between? I mean, they're already doing a 24/7 for Jacobs Golovkin, so I'm assuming for this we're gonna get a 24/7.
I hope so, man. I hope that Oscar and his team uses ties and get Tecate or one of those Mexican brands to do some IG marketing, because that's the way of the future, man. Our society is very fickle-minded. We have a quick mindset, 24 hours. So I'm hoping for this fight to do well. I want to see 1 million. I hope there's 1 million buys, but I just hope they keep this trend and this hot streak right now with the marketing closer to fight time.
All right, Dre. Well, Matt, I mean, what about you? You got any takes on
smart marketing and promotion? I think that the idea for smart marketing nowadays is to place commercials and advertising in the right event or venue that will capitalize on the biggest audience. So March Madness coming up. Throw a bunch of commercials during March Madness. April's the start of the NBA playoffs. Throw a bunch of commercials on that, TNT and such. That's what I would do, because obviously the 24/7s, the press tours, like that should be assumed for a fight with two of the biggest names in the Mexican demographic. Let's just be honest. Like, even though we may think this fight is a shit fight, this fight sells on so many levels, unfortunately. And the idea that, you put commercials on the right time, on the right slot, like if they had a commercial during the Super Bowl, that would have been amazing. Obviously, that's a ton of money, but that's the type of advertising and promotion that's going to get the most exposure, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I mean, I'll ask you the same question I asked Dre, though. What do you think they can do in between outside of the normal 24/7, which I'm truly expecting? I mean, if you're going to give Jacobs Golovkin a 24/7, you have to give these two guys. I mean, Chavez, pedigree.
I thought they announced it. I thought they announced they were going to do that. I could be wrong.
I would hope so, because we're going to get Senior on there. Senior's in there. He's a notable face that casual fans can latch on to. And I mean, Julio César Chávez Sr., put his face on there. Canelo's already a star. Put Oscar in there coming to check out Canelo. Get these casuals liking this thing.
Obviously, I don't know what like the MLS schedule is, but obviously the MLS panders to the Spanish demographic more. So throw them at MLS soccer games, put them in events at the tee off or whatever the hell they call it. Put them at baseball games, hockey games. Put them everywhere in sports and media. Put them on every big radio, Spanish radios in the nation. Put them on, similar to how they put Triple G on the Breakfast Club. Do stuff like that with these guys. Expose them to as much people as possible from as many places and demographics as possible. Because like you said, they're already going to get the Spanish demographic market. They are. But you can still pander to it. You still pander to it, but you still need to go out to every other demographic.
Okay. Because they're attacking you already in the chat. Like, oh, you got to put it on the Mexican channel and Univision. And, you know, well, listen.
Well, yeah, that's assumed. Like, that's like the obvious stuff. You know, we're talking about making this fight 1 million plus pay-per-view buys, right? Because this by itself does 500,000 at least with these two names because of the star name, because of the stardom with these two guys. So to get it plus 750, plus 100, plus 900, plus 1 million pay-per-view buys, that's going to need more work, more money, and more advertising exposure and promotional exposure on tons of different platforms.
Well, I mean, I can't argue with you, man. The more promotion, I'm not going to argue with. You know, you're just coming up with innovative ideas. The people that are saying, you know, put it on the Spanish-speaking channels, they're also right. But I think, like you, Golden Boy is definitely, you know, thinking about that for sure. And shout out to Andy, man, our Canadian Connect, man. Pretty soon we're going to be having Adonis Superman Stevenson. We have Monster Piece already setting things up with David Lemieux. So we're opening doors. TBV is definitely growing. I'd like to take this time since we're closing out. This has been just a quick little news update show for you, let you know where Canelo and Chavez are. Quick shout out to Dr. Mofongo and Christian. You know, Aaron, shout out to Aaron. All these people coming through today. Lewis from Toronto, T from Toronto, right? All these people coming through, paying their tickets in full to the TBV Appreciation Night. It's gonna be litty, baby. DJ Hollywood, Sirius XM is gonna be there. Akin Barak from Sirius XM is gonna be there. Deontay Wilder, Austin Trout, Peter Quillen, Willie Monroe Jr., top-ranked prospect Julian Hammerhands Rodriguez and his trainer. So many people, man, for real. Just about 20-something fighters will be in attendance. So definitely head on over to the BoxingVoice.com/reunion. Get your RSVP in, pay for that ticket in full because capacity is near. I mean, Aaron bought 3 tickets, okay? I'm shouting him out because he bought 3 tickets. And Christian bought 3 tickets. I mean, we're running out of room. It's just the bottom line, you know? And those ladies, they RSVP'd early, you know what I mean? And that list has increased. Monster Piece isn't even on that list. This is what I'm saying about the capacity is nearing, man, because we have people that, you know, I'm not even counting myself in casual. I mean, it's almost over, baby. It's almost over, but it's going to be a movie. Okay? DJ Khaled style. Another one. We're going to do it again, though. Even though we're going to miss Canelo on his New York Hard Rock Cafe, New York City press tour, because we will be in Florida. And remember, for those just tuning in that don't know, the hipster's taking on the Surgeon, a.k.a. BoxingMD versus Matt. 3 rounds, 2-minute rounds, sparring in front of Keith One-Time Thurman. Only brought to you by TBV, hashtag TBV podcast, hashtag TBV Appreciation Night going down March 3rd. TheBoxingVoice.com/reunion. Get your tickets on. We're out. My name is Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at NesGTO and catch the hipster
at Mixed Combat News on Twitter and my MMA podcast, Mixed Combat Radio on Patreon, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, etc. You know, peace, enjoy.
Later.